What is up, YouTube? It's your boy The Walk 71. Replace the A with a 4, and I am here. Hold on, let me adjust the mic. I am here with my WWE TLC 2018 review for you guys. This show was pretty long. It was actually 4 hours. Usually, some of the shows would end around 9:30. It's just depend on the matches. But a lot of matches went long that didn't need to go long at the same time. So it is what it is. I guess you get what you get, I guess. Whatever. Let's get into this review so I can finish this and go back to enjoying my Christmas break from college. Anyways, the kickoff show surprisingly had 2 matches. That might be a record breaker right there. And the worst part about it is it was one good match and one kind of boring match. But nonetheless, there were matches that were on the card. So the first kickoff match we had was Cedric Alexander versus Buddy Murphy for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship match. This is the second pay-per-view in a row that the cruiserweights are on the show, which means this should be a good sign for the 205 Live guys. You know, I actually like 205 Live a lot. They have a lot of talented people on the roster. It's just getting people to watch it and actually kind of telling compelling stories. That's probably one of the things that they need to do. But they have good matches. Almost every week there's a good match. And I usually just pay attention to what match I need to watch instead of watching the whole show, because it gets boring at times because they're not telling concrete stories over there. They're just having matches and they kind of make up the stories as they go, but the stories aren't bad. They're just meh-ish. But this match, like any other 205 Live, like high profile match, was good. Cedric Alexander and Buddy Murphy, started off, back and forth, did their little spots where they both rose up, and the crowd actually cheered for it. Cedric Alexander actually got a pop from here, and he's not even from San Jose because it shows in San Jose. He's actually from was it North Carolina? So he got a big pop. Buddy Murphy got a response, but the match was actually good. It started off with Cedric going for some things before Buddy Murphy hit the big knee out of nowhere. Then eventually Buddy Murphy was working on stuff. Then eventually Cedric Alexander got offense in. He had a nice Michinoku driver. Cedric hit, he didn't even hit his tope con hilo this time. He did just a baseball sweep on Buddy Murphy. There was one clean spot Cedric did where he basically hit a Death Valley driver on the apron, but it looked like just by the way Buddy Murphy sells things in matches, he makes moves look 20 times more aggressive and vicious than ever before. And when he hit that Death Valley driver, it wasn't like the Velveteen Dreams Death Valley driver where he rolls over. He lifted that man up and just dropped his head on the apron, and it looked really clean. Went for the lumbar check for a near fall before Buddy Murphy put his foot on the ropes. Then eventually Buddy Murphy got offense in. He did hit the little package super kick into the corner once. Then towards the end of the match, he basically duped Cedric Alexander by kind of grabbing him and pulling him face first into the bottom turnbuckle. Then Buddy Murphy hit the Murphy's Law for the victory. He retained the title. Now, where can they go from here? I think this might set up Cedric for an eventual heel turn on Mustafa Ali on a future episode of 205 Live, because maybe this is the part where Cedric kind of goes crazy because he's done with the title. He lost his rematch. He lost his title, and they lost the rematch, so now he's just trying to get another opportunity. He might turn on Mustafa Ali, because I see Mustafa Ali getting a title shot at Mania or something. So it's kind of like the story of Mustafa Ali. But this was a really good match. I suggest you guys check it out. It's one of the few good matches on this show. The next match we ended up getting was Elias versus Bobby Lashley, in a ladder match with a guitar being in the grasp of this match. Now, I didn't even know this match was on the pre-show because I was driving from my dad's to my mom's house so I can record everything here, because all my equipment and stuff in my computer's at my mom's house. So I drove all the way to my mom's house. But the pre-show match, I didn't know what the pre-show match was at first. So it ended up being the Cruiserweight match, but I only caught like the second half of it. So I went back and watched the entire match, because I figured they're just going to be talking about stuff on pre-show, nothing important. I skipped to the live. It's a whole nother match. It was Elias and Bobby Lashley, but the match was, it was nothing special. It was very short for a ladder match. I could tell you, I believe Elias hit a power bomb on a ladder onto Bobby Lashley. Leo Rush got involved for a minute, but it wasn't that very special of a match. Elias won by grabbing the guitar, but after the match, Bobby Roode hit the little spine buster Leo Rush hit his frog splash, and then Bobby Lashley hit Elias with the guitar, and then did his little pose. So yeah, that was that. So Elias won, but Bobby Lashley looked strong by hitting him with the guitar. Yada yada yada. So we get into the actual show, and what should have been on the pre-show actually opened up the pay-per-view, which was this shenanigans known as the Mixed Match Challenge Finals, as we had Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox versus the team of R-Truth and Carmella. Now, for those who don't know, or simply just don't care, which I don't blame you, about the Mixed Match Challenge, this is a thing they did on Facebook Watch. They did it last year, and last year it was actually sort of entertaining. This year it kind of sucked because a lot of people got replaced throughout the season, so it just got boring, and I just didn't feel like watching it at all, so I just stopped watching it. I didn't even watch the first episode. I was like gonna watch it, and I was just, oh, it's not even worth my time. So basically, the Mixed Match Challenge is basically a bunch of mixed tag matches, one guy, one girl on the team. And the way they did this year, they did more of a G1 Climax round robin tournament where they all just faced each other. Whoever got the most points eventually got into the playoffs. It's really stupid. I don't even know why I'm explaining this because I don't care for this. And the craziest part is the two teams that were essentially the worst teams, who basically lost almost all the matches, ended up in the finals. This match was nothing special. Just think, Jinder Mahal was the WWE champion last year, and he's reduced to this. And Carmella was the SmackDown Women's Champion earlier this year, and she's doing this. Anyways, nothing. It was a nothing match. Carmella pinned Alicia Fox. No, she went for the code of silence, and Alicia Fox instantly tapped out. After that, they did a interview, and what was at stake for the finals was that the winners get the 30th spot in the men and women's Royal Rumble match. So Carmella and R-Truth are going to enter at number 30 in the Royal Rumble this year. Just think about that. Then I guess there was another thing I just remember. It was the winner gets an all expense paid vacation, and they had everybody pick already, and R-Truth picked it, and he said, we're going to WWE headquarters. So comedy, yeah, comedy. That's how we like it over at WWE. Anyways, what should have really opened up the show, and what I will say was the opening match, was the triple threat match for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, as we had the New Day versus the Usos versus the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Bar, without the Big Show, because the Big Show has once again turned face because he knocked out Cesaro in a lousy backstage video, and Cesaro got knocked out, and while he was knocked out, he was standing the whole time. It was whatever. And the punch was really slow. It didn't even look like it could knock anybody out. It was a terrible punch. Anyways, this match was okay, I guess. I mean, when it comes to these three teams, I expect more out of multi-man tag matches, because you can go back to, what was the show, the WWE pay-per-view of December of last year, which was Clash of Champions, an all SmackDown show. We had a fatal four-way tag team match that had New Day, Usos, Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable, and I think it was Rusev and... Was it Rusev? I think it was, yeah, Rusev and Aiden English. Rusev Day, I guess they were called. Boy, have the mighty have fallen. That match was lit because it was just people going crazy. Chad Gable hitting suplexes, all kind of crazy stuff. This match was just... It was okay, I guess. There was spots where Kofi Kingston did the trust fall. Cesaro caught one of the Usos with an uppercut while they was trying to go for a dive. Xavier Woods hit his always impressive elbow, jumping elbow off of the actual rope, like he does the tight walker, whatever you call it, where he walks on the ropes and then hits the elbow drop. The ending of this match saw Xavier Woods try to go for some kind of move. It's like where you enter the ring but you launch yourself up, and Sheamus hit a bro kick and won, and that was that match. It was okay, I guess. So okay, so after that we get to the TLC match, the first TLC match of the night, as we have Braun Strowman versus Baron Corbin, but there's a stipulation between this match for both men in this match. As Braun Strowman, if he wins, he gets a title shot against Brock Lesnar, for the WWE Universal Championship at Royal Rumble next month. But if Baron Corbin wins, right, he becomes the permanent Raw general manager. And the thing about it was that Baron Corbin, kayfabe, took Braun Strowman out by attacking his elbow with a steel stairs. But in actuality, Braun Strowman had to get elbow surgery. So he hasn't even been on Raw he hasn't been on TV since then. So he showed up this time. But Baron Corbin already knew claimed Braun Strowman was going to show up. So what he did was he said he was going to have a 10 count forfeit. Braun Strowman wasn't going to show up. He automatically becomes the Raw GM. So Heath Slater as the referee, because the whole story behind this is that Baron Corbin as a GM has been terrible, and he's the reason Raw ratings have been shit. It's not that. It's because the Raw has terrible booking and writing. But we'll just blame it on Baron Corbin. Why not? And basically, Heath Slater is his personal referee. Heath Slater counted all the way to, I think, about 8. Braun Strowman's music plays. He has a sling on. He comes out and he was like, yeah, this is a TLC match. This is no disqualification. So there's no rules. And there's no rules saying I can't get help to win. And that's when a bunch of people just randomly start showing up with chairs. Apollo Crews came out with a chair. I still don't understand what he had to do with this story. I guess Baron Corbin told Apollo Crews to go back to Ring of Honor again, as if it was 2015. So, that was that's why he's involved in it. Chad Gable and Bobby Roode showed up because Baron Corbin was like messing with them, putting them in 3-on-2 handicap matches, but they ended up winning the tag team titles in the 3-on-2 handicap match. So I don't even know why they still beefing with Baron Corbin. But all right, Finn Balor, I guess he's involved because there was like a small stable between Lashley, Drew McIntyre, and Baron Corbin, and they beat up Elias, Finn Balor, and Braun. So I guess that's why Finn Balor was in. And they all had the chairs. Eventually, Heath Slater was like, nah, I'm with them now. And Baron Corbin was like, nah, F all that. He left. Kurt Angle's music drops. He pulls up with the chair, hits Baron Corbin, starts beating him up with the chair. He gets back into the ring. Heath Slater takes off the referee's jersey. He hits Baron Corbin. Then all the men just start beating up Baron Corbin with chairs. And then everybody start hitting their finisher. Apollo Crews. No. Oh, this is clean. This is actually clean. I'll give them their credit for this. Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, what I'm going to assume is their new finisher. Basically, Roode goes for a neck breaker, but in the middle of his neck breaker, Chad Gable hits a moonsault, and they both connect. So it's like a moonsault neck breaker at the same time. That was clean. Then Apollo Crews hit a frog splash. Then Kurt Angle picked him up, hit a angle slam, and then Finn Balor hit the coup de grace. And then Heath Slater puts his referee jersey back on. Braun Strowman gets back into the ring, puts his foot on Baron Corbin. 1, 2, 3. Braun Strowman wins. So apparently Heath Slater can be a wrestler and a referee at the same time. Okay. So Braun Strowman is going to go on to face Brock Lesnar at Royal Rumble for the Universal Championship. Not looking forward to that match whatsoever because I know Brock is going to win. And these two have managed to disappoint me more times than I thought. So I don't care for this match. So after that, we got to this match as we had Natalya versus Ruby Riott in a tables match. Now the story behind this is that Natalya, her father passed away, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, rest in peace. Rest in peace to all the wrestlers that died this year, but especially like all the ones connected to the Hart family. Like I'm not even laughing. Like, okay, so Jim the Anvil Neidhart died, then British Bulldog died like last week, and I was just watching his matches in New Japan. That man went crazy. I just knew him as the guy that was with the British Bulldogs, and I remember seeing him in a wheelchair because, he lost filling and stuff because he has a very crazy ring style because I saw a video on Chris Benoit, and then they was showing Dynamite Kid. But I didn't know how good of a wrestler Dynamite Kid was. Jesus Christ, that man was cold. Like his match with Tiger Mask in New Japan, watch that shit. That shit was nice. But back to this match. So basically her father passed away, and this entire time Ruby Riott and the Riott Squad have been making fun of her father being dead. First they destroyed the glasses. Then when they announced it was a tables match, she put a picture of Jim the Anvil Neidhart on the table. She said, after this match, you'll be more closer than your father than you will ever be. Yada, yada, yada. And let me say one thing. This is towards you wrestling fans that thought this storyline was too far because they used Natalya's dead parent in the match. First of all, once again, this isn't a real sport. So Natalya agreed to doing this. And I'm pretty sure her father would have liked this because this is the wrestling business. This is what people do. This isn't real. I don't understand that. That's the best part about it. It's not real. So Natalya had to agree to it. Oh, this storyline is too far. You're taking it too far. I guess you have not watched anything WWE has done forever ago. Let's talk about Big Boss Man going to Big Show's father's funeral, taking the casket and dragging it, and Big Show had to jump on top of the casket. Or we could talk about The Undertaker practically hanging Big Boss Man off the Hell in a Cell. Or we could talk about the Big Boss Man taking Al Snow's dog, Pepper, cutting her up into pieces and feeding it to Al Snow. Or we could talk about The Rock throwing, no, that's not even bad. But you know, The Rock and Stone Cold each throwing each other off of like off of a bridge into the lake. Or we could talk about CM Punk using Paul Bearer in the storyline, and nobody had no problem with that. But now y'all got a problem with this, huh? Fuck out of here. So this match was boring. I felt like it took a lot of time out of this pay-per-view that I kind of want back because the match was like very slow. At the beginning, it was more fast-paced. I didn't think this match was going to be as long as it was, and it was. So Natalya was instantly turning up, you know, going for stuff. She was saying shit, bitch, like 5 times or whatever. She said, "That's what you get for messing with my family, bitch." And then the first table spot was Natalya basically spearing Liv Morgan through the table out, and Liv Morgan sounded like she died. Like, Jesus Christ, she can't catch a break this year. She got put through that table like that, and she died. She didn't really die, but it sounded bad because she just started. I don't know, bro. That shit was brutal. Then eventually Natalya put Sarah Logan through a table with like kind of like a power slam, and the rest of this match was just boring. It was just slow. Natalya hit a sharpshooter in the match, and it was pointless because it's a tables match, so she can't even tap out. They brought out the table with her dad on it. Eventually, Ruby Riott countered the sharpshooter by just by pushing the table on top of Natalya. Natalya had a table that had Ruby Riott in it. Ruby Riott tried to go for her Karana through the table, but Natalya countered it into a powerbomb through the table, and she managed to put on her dad's jacket during the second half of the match, and then she put on the glasses, and yeah. I don't know. It was a boring match. It wasn't that exciting. It was pretty boring. Like, I was in Discord with my friend Zach, and we was just silent during most of the match because the match was just boring. It was just boring. And then the next match was kind of disappointing because we have a match between Finn Balor and Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is like one of the only good things on Monday Night Raw because they're actually booking him how he should be booked, which is just like he's just be whooping ass. He's whooping ass. He's a big dude. He just be out here whooping ass. So that's what we got in this match. And yeah, I don't know. I didn't gravitate towards this match. I was kind of bored. I was actually looking through my Snapchat stories and stuff. Like, it was just, like Drew McIntyre was like dominating. Then eventually Finn Balor got offense in. It was just really boring. Then eventually Drew McIntyre hit Finn Balor with the Scottish kiss, was just a headbutt. Then eventually Finn Balor got back in the ring. Dolph Ziggler got involved, super kick Drew McIntyre. The referee didn't see it. Then what happened? He hit him with a super kick. Then eventually Drew big boot. He hit Dolph Ziggler with a big boot, grabbed the chair. The referee was like, "Oh no, don't grab the chair." He put Dolph Ziggler in the ring. And as soon as he did that, Finn hit the shotgun drop kick with the chair placed on Drew. Finn hit the coup de grace on Drew and won the match. Yay. It was pretty boring of a match. It wasn't that interesting. I'm going to assume they're doing this to kind of die down Drew McIntyre, and maybe he actually wins the Royal Rumble. You know, what an idea that could be. So the next match we ended up getting was not that interesting at all neither. We had Randy Orton versus Rey Mysterio in one of the most basic chairs matches I've ever watched. I was dreading watching this match because it was just so boring, and I wasn't interested in watching a chairs match between Rey Mysterio and Randy Orton. You could have made the Daniel Bryan and AJ match a chairs match, or you could have made the Dean Ambrose match a chairs match. A chairs match between Dean Ambrose and Seth actually would have been good because, you know, the whole chairs thing. I'm booking a better thing than WWE. I'll talk about it later. This match was boring. I'm sorry. Rey Mysterio hit Randy Orton with chairs. Randy Orton hit Rey Mysterio with chairs. I can tell you one cool thing Rey Mysterio did. He put the chair on his stomach and then did his little slide dive he did, and it landed right on Randy. Randy did the thing where he slammed Rey Mysterio's face into the chair on a table, on the announce table. Then he did it on the turnbuckle. The ending of this match was Randy Orton was setting up the chairs for music chairs or something like that. And then Rey Mysterio hit some kind of hurricanrana off of the chair. into a pin and won the match. Yeah, it wasn't that exciting, honestly. So after that, let's see, was there anything? Okay, let me talk about this because this is setting up for something in the future, I guess. So Finn Balor goes for an interview, right? He isn't happy that Dolph got involved in his match, and Dolph was like, you know, I helped you, and he was like, stay out of my business. So eventually, Finn grabs Dolph Ziggler, and then Dolph Ziggler counters it and throws Finn Balor over the equipment. Like, how do you conclude to somebody grabbing you to just throwing them over a bunch of equipment? And now this is setting up for a match between them two on Monday Night Raw. But I feel like this is going to set up a storyline where they both have to team up and face Drew McIntyre. So after that, we got this match. We had the Raw Women's title match. We had Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey in a match I really did not care to see because I'm just not invested in Nia Jax anymore. She is boring. Like, this whole face breaker thing has made her worse because, yes, they use it for an angle. Perfect. It's pro wrestling. People use real stuff for an angle all the time. She has managed to use it and plummeted its meaning. Okay? She's been cutting terrible promos. She yelling into the mic. She literally yelled into the mic saying the title was hers. Z, I'm going to sleep. So in the match, she teased punching Ronda Rousey in the face and saying that's gonna knock her out, basically trying to say she's the Big Show. Ronda Rousey goes for a little combinations. Eventually, Ronda gets caught into a powerbomb. Then Nia Jax does more power stuff. Eventually, Ronda Rousey goes for what's the thing? A cross body dive to the outside. Get to the match. Ronda eventually hits some more stuff. Nia Jax does stuff. Then eventually she tries to set up for her little punch, and then Ronda Rousey catches her, puts her in the armbar. She looks at Tamina and says, "This is for you." Hits her with the armbar. Nia taps out. End of the match. It's cool. I mean, listen, I like Ronda Rousey to an extent. There's certain things she does that kind of pisses me off because after Survivor Series, she got beat up by what's her face? Charlotte Flair. And then she was the next night smiling like she don't have all those bruises on her body. Yada, yada, yada. This just wasn't a very interesting match. I wasn't interested. And honestly, the crazy part is Ronda Rousey is new to pro wrestling and stuff, and she carried the match. What should I tell you about Nia Jax, who's been wrestling in this company for some time now? She debuted in NXT, I think, in like 2015. Made her main roster debut, 2016? So she's been on the main roster for about 2 years, I should say. Yeah, about 2 years because she debuted in the summer. She's been in WWE for 3, been on the main roster for 2, and she still sucks. Okay, whatever. It was a whatever match. Now, what happened after this match was very interesting as they showed Nia Jax walking backstage, and Becky Lynch pulled up on Nia Jax. She was like, "Oh, you broke my face, huh?" Kicks her in the stomach, punches her in the face, and then somehow the punch was so strong that Nia Jax managed to hit her face into like some equipment on the side. And then eventually Becky left and Tamina came rushing back afterwards. And yeah, I'm going to assume that's the end of this thing between Nia Jax and Becky. Yeah. So after that, they start the video package for the WWE Championship match between AJ Styles and the new WWE Champion, also known as the new Daniel Bryan. They did a interview with AJ before the match, and he said, "I don't care if it's the new or old Daniel Bryan, he's still going to get a phenomenal forearm." So this match was... I don't know how to explain this match. It didn't suck, but it was just it wasn't a good pace of a match they should have had. But I know it's the kind of pace that is working for Daniel Bryan's newer character, which is more slow, methodical pace. But both men can't be slow and methodical. This just makes the match kind of uninteresting. And this match kind of messed up the Dean and Seth match, other than that match just being boring. But this match was just, it was cool. They were just it was just very slow. The entire pace of the match was slow. Pretty much, yeah, for the entire match, it was slow. Whenever it did pick up, it would just get slow again. Daniel Bryan went for technical stuff. AJ was trying to go for technical stuff. Towards the Later half of the match, AJ started working on Daniel Bryan's leg. He went for a leg lock. Daniel Bryan eventually got out of it. It started to turn up a little bit because they started going for strikes. AJ hit a phenomenal forearm off the barricade on Daniel Bryan on the outside. Daniel Bryan went for his little kick. He actually went for the label lock, as he's calling it again. It's not the yes lock anymore. It's the label lock because the yes movement is dead. So we're going back to the label lock. That's fine. Whatever. So the ending of this match was basically AJ had went. I believe he went for the. Let me look for this. What did he do? What did he do? What did he do? Yeah, he tried to go for a phenomenal forearm. They basically recreated the ending of the match that Daniel Bryan won the title in, where basically AJ went for the phenomenal forearm. Daniel Bryan moves out the way, puts the referee in the way. He tried to kick AJ in the nuts. AJ countered it into a small package, but eventually Daniel Bryan reversed it into his own small package, and he won the match. Ding, ding, ding. Daniel Bryan won. Now, the ending of the match was pretty stupid, but it worked for Daniel Bryan and his new character. You know, his new character being, you know, the new Daniel Bryan. Everything is fickle. The fans are fickle. Everything is bad. You know, this new troll Daniel Bryan, basically. It's cool. It works for his character, but the match, it didn't work for the match. This match wasn't, I wouldn't say it was bad. It was okay. Just because the pacing was so slow. And their matches on SmackDown were actually way better than this. And that's probably because Daniel Bryan had a faster pace and he had a different pace. But now this one, he's more slow and methodical and he's more technical. So, yeah, it was cool, I guess. It wasn't all that. It wasn't match of the night for sure. Definitely not match of the night. It was just okay. It was just a slow pace. So after that, there was something else that kind of plays into the main event. As we had Ronda Rousey and Natalya basically talking to each other, reflecting on the stuff they did. And then Ronda Rousey got interviewed by Charlie Caruso, and Charlie Caruso asked her about Charlotte. Because, like I said earlier, at Survivor Series, Charlotte went Sandman on Ronda Rousey and just started whacking her with kendo sticks. So she got to get her revenge. And they in the same arena this time. And she said, and I quote, "Payback's a bitch, and she's the baddest bitch on the planet," and she walks off. So that basically means she's going to get involved in the main event match, and she did. So we ended up getting the next match, which was the WWE Intercontinental Championship match. We had Dean Ambrose take on the champion Seth Rollins, in one of Seth Rollins' most boring matches. The last time Seth Rollins had a match this boring, I have to think, was his match against Chris Jericho at WWE Roadblock, and that was like 2 years ago. Ironically enough, that was a December pay-per-view as well. That was probably exactly 2 years ago. That match was boring. It was just a nothing match. It wasn't interesting. In this match, it was boring. It even got a "this is boring" chant, and that usually doesn't happen in a Seth Rollins match. So that surprised me, but it wasn't not warranted because it was just a basic match. They did all the stuff they do in their matches to make it interesting, with Seth hitting his frog splash, hitting the superplex Falcon Arrow thing, Dean hitting Dean just did his basic moveset. It really didn't get interesting until like the last 5 minutes of the match, when they actually implemented the story of this match, which is all over the place. Also, let me talk about Dean Ambrose. His theme song has been slightly tweaked as they add sirens before, during, and after his theme song. Like, his theme song will play, his regular theme song will play, but during it, it's just sirens. It's so annoying. It's so lazy and annoying. So the match didn't really pick up till they actually start telling a story, which is what a good match should do. And this match had somewhat of a story they could have played upon, because they used Roman Reigns' leukemia thing as part of it, which made sense. But then what they did later in the story kind of made it pointless. So we get to pretty much the last part of the match, and Seth Rollins is going for a super kick, and Dean Ambrose put his fist out to do the shield pose, and Seth Rollins was like, nah. Then eventually he hits Seth. No. Actually, let's rewind back a little bit. There was one part where Seth hit the buckle bomb onto the barricade. You know, maybe that's a callback to his match with Finn Balor where he broke his shoulder, and we all know Dean Ambrose just came back from an arm injury, so maybe that was something. You know, eventually they just start getting more aggressive, actually trying to kill each other. Seth Rollins was like, called him a son of a bitch, and yeah. So the ending of the match, Dean went for the Shield thing. Seth Rollins went for the super kick, and eventually Dean Ambrose countered into a Dirty Deeds and won, and he won the match, and he won the Intercontinental Championship match. So yeah, this match was just boring. It wasn't interesting at all. The story of the match didn't get implemented to the last 5 minutes of the match, so it was just you were just watching them just do their moves. The crowd was pretty much dead because I guess they were saving their energy for the main event, the TLC match. It was just boring. But that just reflects how much this story was not interesting towards the later half of it. The beginning was nice, but then they just start doing this whole Dr. Dean, he got his shots. Then he's saying he can't be contaminated by the fans. He's sick of the fan. Yada yada. It was boring. And this match was boring. So that I guess that's what we get. I don't know. Whatever. So after that, we get the main event match. We had the TLC triple threat match for the SmackDown Women's Championship, as we had the man Becky Lynch defend her title against Asuka and Charlotte Flair. And I believe this is the first ever women's TLC match, and this is another women's match that main evented a pay-per-view. This main event the pay-per-view, and this was a really good match. Actually, it was fun. So the match started off, all the women hitting moves on each other. It was really turning up. Charlotte, in this match, she was the aggressor a lot. Asuka carried the match too because she was doing a lot of stuff. Like she flipped Becky Lynch onto a ladder for a nice spot. What did she do to Charlotte? She powerbombed Charlotte into a table, but Charlotte's head hit the bottom of the table. So only the bottom of the table, like literally a small quarter of the table, actually broke, and Charlotte's head hit it. There was another cool spot where they brought out Becky Lynch had chairs, and she just started going crazy with chair shots. She was swinging the crap out the chair. Then eventually Becky Lynch climbed the ladder and did her leg drop through the announce table off the ladder like she did to Charlotte Evolution. The funniest part about it was that Asuka got off of it. She was like, hell no. And she hit Charlotte. But this one was more brutal because the initial impact was just like there was no table to break the fall. So it was straight Becky Lynch's body weight just falling on top of Charlotte. And Charlotte seemed hurt. She actually cursed in the match because she seemed really hurt. Becky Lynch eventually tries to get back in the match. Her and Asuka start fighting each other. And then we got to a part where basically Charlotte out of nowhere with the kendo stick just started going crazy. She hit Becky Lynch, and then she just started going nutty on Asuka with the kendo stick. She just kept hitting her. She went sandman again. And then we get to a part where basically what happened? What happened again? There was something else that happened. Okay, so we get later in the match, and then Asuka eventually starts going crazy with the kendo stick, and she's celebrating because she basically took both women out so she could just win the match. And then Charlotte spears Asuka through the barricade, but the barricade barely broke. So with that caused more pain to Asuka because nothing broke her fall once again. It was just initial impact. So we get later into the match. Charlotte and Becky eventually just start going at it, trading shots, hitting each other in the face as hard as they could. Then eventually Charlotte got the better of it, and she eventually got the table. She said a nice line too. She said, bow down to the queen. That was a nice line. Slaps Becky, goes for a swanton bomb through the table. Then she gets back into the ring, climbs the ladder, and as soon as she's trying to get the title, Asuka eventually climbs back onto the ladder. They start brawling. Then eventually Becky Lynch comes out of nowhere. She brings a bigger ladder, and they stack the ladders next to each other, so they fight. Asuka eventually falls off the ladder. So then Charlotte gets on the other ladder, and then she starts brawling with Becky Lynch. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Ronda Rousey talked about payback on getting payback on Charlotte. So while Becky and Charlotte were fighting each other, Ronda Rousey pulled up, pushed both women off the ladders, and then left. And then Asuka climbed the ladder and took down the WWE SmackDown Women's Champion, as we have a new SmackDown Women's Champion in Asuka, finally winning the title she so rightfully deserves. She should have won it at Mania, and she should have beaten Carmella, but it's okay. All sins have been forgiven. She won the title. Boom. Now, hopefully we get a heel Asuka, but from the looks of it, Charlotte might be playing the heel role because she might be. Well, I don't know. This is the interesting part. Like I was gonna say maybe we do Asuka and Charlotte at Mania, but from the looks of it, we might be doing this 4 horsewomen match. But I don't know what we're gonna be doing because a lot of things have opened now. Are we gonna finally do Becky and Ronda? Are we gonna do Ronda and Charlotte again? Are we gonna do the 4 horsewomen match? But I don't know if it's too early to call up Shayna Baszler, Jessamine Duke, and Marina Shafir. So I don't know. Like, I don't know what they could do, but I do want to see how everything plays out because as of right now, the women's division has been carrying WWE. The women's division has been going crazy, especially on SmackDown, more or less. Especially because Becky Lynch is the hottest thing in WWE right now. She gets the loudest of pops. The crowd tonight was chanting her name before she even came out. They were chanting her name in the Seth Rollins match. So Becky Lynch is on fire. Asuka's champion is going to be really cool because Asuka lit. Asuka's lit. As long as you let her be her, you'll get a good Asuka. And another thing I liked in this match was the shot they got of Charlotte's face as she looked very angry. It was good. This is awesome chance. It was a really good TLC match, a really good women's match as well. If I had one complaint, I would say that maybe selling wasn't that big of a factor in this match, as like there were certain things that the women went through that they shouldn't have gotten up in the amount of time that they gotten up in each match. Like when Charlotte got put through a table, she got up no more than like 2 minutes after. Or when Becky got put through a table, she got back. It was just, selling wasn't that big of a factor in this match. But other than that, this match was actually really entertaining to a very pretty much boring show. Like I said, match of the night is the women's TLC match. And that is my review for this show. The show was pretty boring. You know what I'm saying? Let me read something real quick. This show was pretty boring for the most part. Most of the matches just did not hit except for that TLC match. So, there's that. I will be back reviewing because there's a lot of shows in January that we got Wrestle Kingdom. I'm going to be reviewing that. Potentially, if I watch the show from top to bottom, I might review Impact Wrestling's Homecoming. That'd be like my first TNA GFW Impact review. Because I'm actually looking forward to Impact Homecoming because it's an Ultimate X match. And I want to see what they're going to do with Johnny Mundo and Brian Cage. So you might get an Impact Homecoming review. But for sure you're going to get a Wrestle Kingdom review. Because I did a Wrestle Kingdom review this year. So why not do it next year? And maybe I'll do more New Japan reviews, but I don't actually watch the full shows because they be at like 3 o'clock in the morning and I got stuff to do, so I just catch the key matches. But Wrestle Kingdom I usually stay up for, and Dominion I stayed up for, so I could have reviewed Dominion too. But anyways, you'll also catch me because there's an NXT UK takeover show. I think I'm gonna review that. I'm starting to get more into NXT UK. It's actually really interesting once you sit down and watch it. The only thing that's been getting me kind of uninterested is because they have to play catch up with all the episodes they taped. So they've been uploading 2 episodes a week, and I ain't got time to be watching all that wrestling. But eventually I'm gonna catch up and watch those 2 episodes because NXT UK is actually really good right now. It's in that beginning stage where it's just the honeymoon stage of, I guess, of it, because that's how NXT was. It was like really good at the beginning once they got everybody established, and since the people in NXT UK were already established, it's really good right now. So you pretty much will catch an NXT UK review. So let's see, that's about 2 and potentially a 3rd review. Then NXT TakeOver Phoenix and Royal Rumble. So you're gonna get like a lot of wrestling reviews in January for sure. February you're getting one. March you're getting one because I think that's Fastlane. April you're getting 2, and we'll get on later as the years go by. But anyway, guys, you know what to do. Like, comment, favorite, subscribe. Do what you do to support me. Follow me on all my social media links down in the description below. Anyway, guys, I'm out. Peace.